All right, we are live. Let's see. Let's get just gonna invite the community on board. Make sure they're aware. Okay. Okay, live. All right, everyone knows we're live now. All right, cool. What's up, guys? Just wait for more people to jump in. Moomoo Juice, how you doing, man? Matthew, what's up, bro? Boa, Papi Master, how you guys doing? I think it's really cool that I can just, I feel like a boomer when I say this, but it's pretty cool that I can just like click on your names now and just have your comment pop up on the screen for everyone to see. Zach, how you doing, man? All right. Oh, we can get started. Sanjay. Oh, you're Cookie. What's up, man? I know who you are. Yeah, you're always dropping good stuff in the members signals area. Nice. Lou, how you doing, man? This guy keeps winning all of our competitions. He was third in the last one, first in the one before that. Nick, how you doing, man? From the Otter Gang. How you doing? You've been long since last week, so you're doing fine. Yeah. Well, I know we gave a post about this being an extremely high confidence zone for prepare for longs. I'm guessing you jumped in around this time. Just realized I've been hanging out with you for 3 years. Really that long? Matthew, what's your Discord name, man? I feel like I should know you by seeing your full name on here. Oscar, what's up? How do you guys feel about this time, by the way? 2 o'clock rather than early mornings. MetaMat, okay. I know, okay. Yeah, Matthew, this guy's got his own token under being built right now. What's up, man? Lou has been around since 2022. Really? Oh, I guess you have been, yeah. Well, I got Brian on in the back here, guys. I can try to add him to the stage. I've never done this before, but I'm going to try to get another coach in these lives so we can just talk to, so we can all talk together kind of thing. There you go.
Yo.
You're in. I was hoping I could figure it out.
This platform's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, I moved on to it because I want to be able to do stuff like this where you can have you or any of the other coaches jump in, or anyone part of the community as well. You can jump in, ask questions. We can do like TA together or help answer questions in person rather than through the chat.
Yeah, I like this a lot. But it's super simple to, like, I mean, I had to do Chrome, and I'm a Safari guy, so that's all I've said. Open up Chrome, and it was easy. And look, it has the background of my house. Like it's that way I can show you guys how cool my house is. Like I have a piano.
Yeah, those Zoom pictures are great. Yeah. But yeah, I was looking at. I guess it's kind of nice to have someone as bearish as you with someone as bullish as me in the same chat, like talking to each other about the market.
I like it.
I'm assuming you're looking at this supply concern right here, right? On the left?
Yes, but no. Right now, like I'm actually kind of leaning long.
Yeah. I'm long until we get here, around 109,250. And when we get up there, I'm going to be preparing for exhaustion. So we are already like, if you look at the RSI on, well, at least in the 15-minute, it's insanely overheated. We just bounced off this 60 level. And so I think we might have a little bit more push left, but I'm expecting exhaustion at 109,300. And I'm going to be waiting for the confluence is first. Obviously, not going to just jump in a short when we get up there, but I want to see the structural confluence, change of character occurrence, loss of the active momentum, and that's when I'll be diving in. I know you use other indicators with your strategy, so you use market cipher, right? So if you use the knockoff, yeah, like the not market cipher B,
yeah,
from John, yeah, that was pretty good. You don't need the paid
it's
one.
the same thing.
Opinion. Yeah,
it is the same thing.
Yeah, not knocking market cipher or anything like that, but if you're on a budget, not market cipher B is basically the equivalent. And Chill, you'd be looking for trigger wave, preferably, and confluence with a
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at like the hourly to the 4 hour right now, like it looks like it just kind of wants to just go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The money flow's coming up on these hot mid, like I don't know, not like I'm talking like the hourly to like the 10 hour, like it just looks like it wants to continue up. So I'm with you, except I'm not going to be I'm not over the 786 at 109 360 ish all the way to the all-time high. Like I just if we don't pass it, I mean I can't ignore the weekly bear div, the 5-day bear div, 4-day bear div, but
yeah, I like to ignore them.
it doesn't look too bad right now. I mean, we may range though, right? We still may have some range left in us. So
yeah, I was expecting some exhaustion at this value area high here after this insanely huge sprint that we had past couple of days, but we only tapped it a couple times in lower time frames, and then we ran off and got acceptance to this value area. So I'm thinking that if we do get past this value area high, that we won't get much past 110.8 because the stupid amount of liquidity that kind of stacked up there from these highs here. That liquidity will be perfect exit liquidity for anyone who aped in with a large amount of funds down here after we grabbed all the liquidity from these lows.
Yeah.
Over here, yeah. So we don't have much reason to come back down until more liquidity starts to stack below us. And we haven't really had much opportunity for structure to allow that other than these like little, you visualize the order flow here and here and here. We have some liquidity stacked here, but that's pretty much it. So if I were a market maker, I want to grab what's above us.
We do have like a 1, 2, 3 day trigger wave thing going on right now, but if you look at the top wave of the last cycle, we did the same thing. It's just eerily close to what happened last time. So I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm bearish and bullish.
Yeah, so what I'm going to be praying for, we've got a little 5-minute regression trend, so we're probably going to have a bit of a drop, retest the momentum soon, but nothing that you can take action on unless you're crazy with your set of rules. So yeah, so it's a waiting game right now for Bitcoin, in my opinion, before taking action on anything. I'm hoping that we get some positioning up here. Like I said before, change character, then target the point of control, and then hope for continuation down to the value area low, while monitoring this as a key level along the way. That's just a slight undercut. Can you see my screen? How does it work for you on your side?
For me, I see everything you're showing them.
Oh,
so
cool.
I can see the chat. I think you and I have a private chat actually right next to it you can click on. Let's try test it.
I see the private chat.
Then I see your screen.
Cool. Test. I gotcha.
Like anybody else see that message I just sent Kyle or no? I would hope not. It says private.
Oh no, they can't. No, they shouldn't see it.
Good. Maybe your mods, maybe like Mumu Joe.
Mumu Juice. Yeah. All right. Cool.
You know what I was looking at? I was looking at ETH.
Ethereum. I can take a peek at Ethereum.
It's these high time frames. I'm talking like the 4 or 5 and the weekly look bad, but then you drop down to like this 4 hour, and I can't help but wonder if this is just like if we're about to rip.
Yeah, right. We got we dipped down below, deviated away from this valley area here that we've been ranging in since the 10th of May. Really? Doesn't feel that long. 30 days.
Yeah.
Well, it did fall pretty hard and a lot of and see how fast we ran up, right? So for it to go range bound like this is like a healthy reset after having a huge move like that. This can't be sustainable without a range. Otherwise, it would fall down as quickly as we came up. We got a strong base of support down here. So we haven't fully mitigated it yet. We tapped in about halfway through. So there might be residual orders down there. Big fat maybe. So you have to look at the order books. But we got acceptance back inside this valley area. So I can update this poll. We can delete this trend line. It's no longer helpful for us for finding
the 786 bounce too on the 1 hour structure from the low to the high. We not perfectly, but we like SFP'd it on the 4. Definitely SFP'd on the 4 because the 1 hour and the 4 are the same structure.
Oh yeah.
It's just like a perfect bounce. It's too perfect almost. I think it's like, why wasn't I paying attention? How did I not see this?
Right now, it's inside of a supply concern, Ethereum. But I could see reasoning for us to break right through it.
What does your 4-hour RSI look like?
My 4-hour RSI?
Yeah.
We got above the 50 level. We're tapping into the 60. Like 60 is like, for anyone who is like new to trading, watching, like, there's key levels you should watch on your RSI. Like one being 60, one being 50, one being 40. Those are like your key levels between your RSI highs and lows that you should watch out for that are consistently will act as support and resistance. So you'll notice, like, just like with formations and structure with candles, you'll see double tops here, right? You can see them within the RSI as well. And when they break, you can think of it like a potential change of character occurrence within the RSI that can also help give you confidences in predicting its rotation to its other side of the RSI. So it's like really nice confluence to help you with your setups. But right now, man, it's tapping the 60. We just bounced off the 50. We used the 50 as support. So we're getting to an area of potential exhaustion soon.
Yeah, it has nice curvature too with the bear div. You see like you can just kind of like draw a trend line down from like where this whole consolidation starts on the RSI all the way down.
Yeah.
Even for all the way, yeah. It's like we're squeezing, right? I mean, obviously we're ranging or squeezing, but
yeah, I see what you're saying. Is this the trending momentum we could follow? We have supply concern, POC, and then value area high coming up. So we're at our first area of confluence for preparing for shorts. If we don't get it, then we don't take it. But the 5 minutes is looking a little bearish in my opinion, like that posture. Basically a rising wedge kind of posture. We have a key level right here that just generated. It would be a very, very short-term move from like here, like 2570 to the local low. But escaping that supply concern, I could see is basically having like a miniature range like we did here. Get acceptance back inside that area. You can pull a whole fixed range volume profile there off of this and see if we get acceptance back inside that valley area. It's we had a lot of distance and we had to break a structure off of it. So I'm not too confident that we'll get a full retrace back down to there from that little tiny little falling rising wedge. I'd rather see positioning kind of like what we're kind of hoping for with Bitcoin to get to its value area high with Ethereum. Hopefully get past the POC, and then we can use the POC as potential confluence on drops back down, kind of like what we did here. This last move here. You can see if you didn't get it on the break, we had the break of structure confirmation using the valley area as resistance. I mean the point of control as resistance, and leaving this smaller valley area here in confluence with that. So we could have something similar. Retest that, come down. If we get our positioning back up here. Just a waiting game. So if you're any longs, you can use momentum, guys, as a good tool to monitor the pace of the buyers or to help you hold your trades. And based on the momentum, it's suggesting that it could take us. Momentum's not always perfect, but it does suggest that it could take up to 17 hours for us to get up there. Well, that's Ethereum. We went over Bitcoin. It's just a waiting game for preparing for shorts. We got, what, 36 peeps watching. Is there anything you guys want to go over? Or is there any assets that you're looking at, bro?
I'm just looking at ETH right now. Everything else is kind of iffy. The way ETH is just posturing, I just feel like it can rip. Either way, I mean, either way, it's going to be a big move, right? If we come down and we fill that demand zone before that move up we had, that's great. But it just, to me, it just kind of looks like we have a little room to the upside.
Yeah.
Something I was going, so regarding ETH.
It's weird shorting with all this negative space above your head.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're looking along, you kind of missed it already. You kind of got to go by, because we may not get the retest, right, for like a continuation. So when I'm looking at that, you know, my oscillator may tell me to hop in, but if you draw like a 4-hour trend line, 3-hour trend line even, when we break that, I'll look for it. But right now, I'm just kind of waiting.
I gotcha.
I was talking to the people this morning and last week actually about if you were to pull a 200 EMA up and look at the, it does work on ETH too, but the 2-hour 200, like,
oh, 2-hour 200.
You know, yeah. we kind of retested a little bit back early May, but we broke above it cleanly April 22nd, and we really haven't done that until like a week and a half ago on the 30th, 31st. We broke below it, and then we had a retest, and then we broke below it again. And I was saying, I wonder if it's like kind of like an indication, like we have a little cool off to do. It's even Bitcoin's the same thing.
I gotcha. Anyone who's watching who wants to learn how to like sync your EMA to the time frame of your choice. So you just go to inputs, you type in the length, the 200. Right now the style is blue. Let's change it to like a bright color so you guys can see what. So this guy right here is the 200 EMA. But right now it's synced to chart. So whenever I rotate between different time frames, it's going to change the EMA based on the chart that I'm looking at. So if I wanted to sync it to like the 2-hour, like he's talking about, you can see like right here. Now it's synced to that chart's time frame, the 2-hour, and that could help you get a better like look and to prepare for resistance. Like, for example, it helps you a lot for potential confluence for shorts at this local value area high, right here. We had a good question from Alex regarding ETH. Where would you prepare for a long there? So looking for a long, you'd basically. If we're looking at this active value area here, this is where my most recent long would have been. If I was looking at the charts at the time, it's pretty darn picture perfect. With my rules, I wait for a break of momentum like this, down, so tracking the pace of the sellers or the buyers if it's an uptrend. Looking at market structure, which is the most important rule with every single strategy that exists, and seeing how it's developing. So here, on the 5-minute time frame, we've got our point of control here. We've got our change of character currents would have been here with this lower low. But during the change of character currents, we didn't have the full-on break of momentum, but here we did. And if you entered here, it would be a little bit risky because you had the point of control right in your face, and you've got the VWAP against you as well. If you wanted to play a little safer, can rotate to like the 15-minute time frame, see where its structure is giving you confluences. And we have here as our change of character level. So I would have, if I were wanting to play it safe and give it as a signal, because what I do like trading on my own versus what I signal, I want to make sure it's like insanely safe, like mostly like I try to aim for like the A+ kind of setups. This would have been more of an A+ setup because I would have the VWAP break, the point of control break, the change of character occurrence in the 15-minute time frame, the break of momentum off the value area low. And then from there, I would target the value area high or higher, depending on what the liquidity looks like. So here, we could target the value area high to be safe, but we could target the extreme highs where the liquidity is resting right up here. That was taken, we can see that was used as exit for a big player before we came up and got a continuation. So this is how I would have taken it. My stop loss guard would have been this local low right here. And let's see what kind of R&R that would have gave us. That would have been a 1 to 1.71. So it would have been a slight, like iffy. If you use the average true range, you might have you forced the R&R. If you were targeting the extreme highs, you would have had a 1 to 3.4. But yeah, just got to make sure you are able to monitor it when we get to the value area high. So you can set alarms near the value area high if you're concerned about the value area high. Because if you get an opposing change of character, you might be forced out of your trade early. I'm going to delete that EMA here. All right. Got lots of requests on virtuals from Richman and Cookie or Sanjay. All right, cool. So virtuals. Cookie. Yeah, he's pretty active in the InvestiShare server. Let's get the active ones are the ones that usually end up doing extremely well. We had a supply concern here. We went past it. Now we're starting to get acceptance back inside of this previous value area here. That we kind of like built that pennant before we had that drop confirmation down to the 50 EMA. We just left the local value area, which we could update here from here to here. Why is that? That's not set up right. It is set up right. Oh, that value area doesn't make any sense. The value area low should be much higher. There's no way that's... I don't know if you guys have been seeing some problems with the value area thing. I've been seeing problems with it for like past like 7 months now. But yeah, we left this this active range, got a support bounce, and then we're starting to get acceptance into this value area here. If we get that proper acceptance and break past the previous point of control, we could get a rotation up to 206. Let me just mark that value area low properly so we can see what it looks like up close. Oh, by the way, Brian, I know I kind of sprung this up on you like last second. So if for any reason you have to go,
I'm chilling right now.
Okay, all right, cool.
No, I'm just staring at a chart just like I would if I was on my own. I got the wife's doing laundry and
nice.
I'm just being a lump.
Oh, this price, it's MEXC chart, yeah. Okay, we got we got a rejection off the point of control. We're coming down to retest the value area low. What we really want to see for virtuals to get that continuation up is the higher high above this point of control. If we don't, we could potentially SFP off this and then force our way back down. But what we really want to see is that break of structure. Oh, we might get it. Getting a little bit of action there. We want to get that price above this wick, close above the point of control, and then we have a much, much higher chance of getting that full rotation back up to the value area high at 206. We're to look left for potential bearish confluences. We have the 15-minute order block right above that point of control. It was close to getting mitigated, but we didn't tap it yet. Yeah, so I'd mark this supply concern. And I would also mark these previous highs here. And this is like your final boss before getting to that value area high at $2. So psychological level 2. We had our VWAP reset on that day. So I'd mark it a little bit lower. 199, just to front run it a bit. So yeah, that's our final boss for 206. So if you get an opposing change of character here, I'd listen to it because we could get that full rotation back down to the value area low. The behavior usually behaves the same way as it did in the last value area. So just prepare for that same kind of behavior. Fast moves up, it looks like, most of the time. Gives you some time for entry. Even faster moves down. All right, so that's virtuals. A waiting game, it'd be like preparing for shorts if you're not in longs kind of thing. I don't like longing into a value area after just getting acceptance into it, even though it's coming in from the lower side. Because there's a lot of confluences, like, for example, this bearish divergence, stuff like that. I don't like going against exhaustive confluences, even though it's and you're in a bullish location. I'd rather prepare for the shorts. If I'm not already in the long, if I was in the long, then I could just use this as a tool to help tell me to stay in the trade. Like if I got in here, for example, after we broke momentum, change of character off the previous value area high. Okay, so that's virtuals. We got a request to look at Solana from Hypnotoad. Okay, so let's take a peek at Solana. Well, I guess I shouldn't leave them up there. Right? Hides the screen a little bit. All right, so Solana's becoming a lot more predictable lately with its stuff. I'm not sure if you found that, Brian. If you still,
I've been enjoying it. Solana, Solana, Link, ETH, and Bitcoin have been my my go-tos like the past week, a little over maybe even 2 weeks, and then I'll throw in Cardano and Sui. Sui's relatively new to me.
Sui's got some relative strength, nice. So you sometimes get opportunity with Sui when you don't everywhere else. It had relative weakness recently because of the hack. So it's always like it seems to move on its own, whether it be a bullish thing or a bearish thing.
I only look at like 6 assets. Maybe I'll throw in a 7th here and there, and I do whatever one just looks best. I guess is what I'm taking. It's just for the most part they run together, but like maybe like certain things are different. Whether it's like the distance to like some supply or demand, or the oscillator screaming a little harder, and I'll just take that trade. I love me some Solana and Link. They have my heart right now.
Solana is now back inside a previous value area that had a lot of influence over it since May. We're at its value area high right now. We could come up a little further up with the correlation effect with Bitcoin potentially pumping up Ethereum. And I know Solana has a lot of Ethereum pairing liquidity, so it moves sometimes along with Ethereum. So if we do get that relative move up further past the value area high, then we have these areas for potential confluences for like a legacy SFP, like those like longer term SFP levels. Like up here, if we get a sweep of that liquidity around 157.98 area. However, we're already there. We're already at the bearish confluence level where we prepare for shorts. We might slow crawl our way up here, but man, Solana is great for SFP trading, and we have a wick right above us where we can get that swept before coming down. So I'm going to mark that as a key level. So anyone who uses these Solana charts, this could help you out. I'll post that chart in here in the chat, so you guys can use this link if you need it. There we go. So what I would prefer to see is price action to come up, sweep that liquidity, and then close back inside the range, and then I can target the lows. Then the strong low would basically be under attack, and right now that's this level right here at 155.55. So you can mark this as a level, a key level. If broken with a 5-minute candle close below this level, it could induce a drop down to its value area low. But you have to be mindful of the VWAP along the way. VWAP's king. It does. You'd be surprised how strong this little guy is. So watch out for the VWAP along the way. We have a slight demand zone here, like leading right into that close. So you definitely want to make sure you get the candle close and not a wick, because this will likely induce that wick like it did right here. Get a bounce off of it. So be patient. Don't just get in because it dips down below. Wait for that candle to close, because we could bounce up and continue our trend back up. So that close is really, really important. But yeah, target the 153.05. If we do get that 5-minute candle close below this level, watch out for the VWAP. Got a question. Is that Moldavite pendant you wear in your thumbs? What's that even mean? I think you're talking about the pyrite. I have a pyrite necklace here. I wear it like every single day. Yeah, so it's pyrite. It's like basically fool's gold if you think about it. It's usually cheap. You can get like a pound of pyrite for like $10. Okay. Looks like we're bouncing in Ethereum. Oh, we got that. Yeah, we're on the other side of the supply concern. That's a good break.
See, I told you. I didn't tell you shit.
Yeah.
I said long now, 100x.
Long now, 100x. Yeah. Ape into it. Yeah.
It's not my fault you don't want to gamble and listen to me. It's on you.
I gotta wait for I need the posture, man.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Just in case there's degens listening that want to do the 100x stuff. Gotta be careful what you say.
Just kidding.
I don't want to lead people into death. Yeah, here, yeah. I'm still waiting. I'm being patient. But I'm glad that it broke past this supply concern. Then we get that rotation that we actually want, where we can prepare for shorts. I'd rather not short here, even though we have some decent confluence with this supply concern and deviating away from the local value area down here. But the macro is always stronger.
So I was looking, I kept my EMAs up for like the first time ever. Normally I just put them on like the 1 hour, the 4 hour, more local stuff, right? Because I really don't use them. And we did reclaim the 200 on the daily. So it's like,
yeah. We got a Qubic request from Freebreaker. Cool. Okay. Let's take a look at Qubic. I think Qubic deserves a lot more attention than it gets. We have a messy, previous POC here alongside with the previous value area high. We got a support bounce on the 15-minute off of the macro value area low right here. But this POC is so insanely strong. It's constantly keeping it down all the time. We never get that full rotation to its macro value area high. This POC's king. What I could do here, we have a demand zone here that has been holding it up. I kind of want to see what this local valley area looks like. It's in sync with the valley area high right now. So I'm kind of more bearish on Qubic than I am bullish right now. We already got that pretty aggressive rejection up here, but it's not something I would take action on. I still need more structure. I don't like trading Qubic anyways. It's a good asset to hold, but trading it's kind of a nightmare because it has wicks all over the place. It's kind of like the John Wick of assets right now. Look at this last little range. Trading that would be a little bit of a nightmare. Yeah, here I'll prepare for a posture that would define a return back down to at least this local demand zone. So we have this impulse move up, built a base, another impulse move up. This could act as a form of demand for a potential internal range in the zone right here. So if we get that change of character occurrence, I'll be preparing for a bounce around here. So it might not be a very good trade from just here to here. But preparing for a long around this zone could be a good opportunity, especially if we have a confluence with Bitcoin and Ethereum just driving the price up a bit. Qubic doesn't have too much relative strength. It doesn't move a lot with Bitcoin in terms of its like local ranges, but when it has its breaks, it does a lot of big moves on its own. Yeah, there's that POC, that little pesky POC keeping it down. That EMA, that 200 EMA is starting to catch up. Get above that, then we'll definitely get to that Valerie high way up here. But yeah, short term, I'm bearish. But super long term, I'd say like a few years, like a year from now, this thing is definitely one you would want to hold. Even at its current price, it's not a bad spot to like accumulate. I'm not super biased on it because I don't have a huge bag on it. But this is the momentum I'd follow. Just wait for the change of character occurrence, and you might get a good, if you have a good enough stop loss guard to provide you the risk to reward ratio. Just gotta watch this as like a barrier, but we could come back up to retest this uptrending momentum. It's a huge point of interest right now. Okay.
Kyle, is there a way I can go live on my YouTube too and have this go back and forth, or no, because you're the host? You probably just don't even know. You're fresh to this, I think, right?
I'm fresh to this, but I know that with any device, if you're occupying your camera or your mic, it can only be used in one platform at a time. So if you got to go and jump on a live, man, then go for it.
I'm chilling.
All right, cool.
I'm chilling. Like, I'm just asking. I'm just like looking at. I'm like, I can go.
That's a good idea, though.
If I can just click a button and do the same thing I'm doing now, why the hell wouldn't I? That's basically what I do when I go live. Instead of talking to myself, I talk to people. Yeah,
so I could connect to like an API connection on my side to allow it to go live on yours simultaneously. But I don't know if you can do YouTube and YouTube at the same time. Pierre, I voted for you, by the way. Just kidding. In Canada, that's the name of the other prime minister that was running. Do you suppose Bitcoin will eventually go bearish until around 90,000 before going bullish higher than 115K? Well, we do know that there's a huge barrier at 110, knowing that there's like, I bet there's close to $500 million up here by now at 110.8. So there's a good reason for market makers to exit there, which could cause a reversal down. But to say 90s, like that's too early to tell. One thing that did happen that is bearish, we technically had a bearish daily change of character occurrence when we wicked down to this area. And changes of characters do tend to prompt a pullback a lot of the times because we grab liquidity while simultaneously giving us that change of character occurrence. But how far we go up is important because if we go higher, get a higher high first, then we're likely not going to go down to 90K anytime soon. We need to get acceptance back below inside this previous valley area here, this macro valley area here, then we can start having those kind of targets. But 97K is a huge, huge key area. And after 97K, we'd be targeting 93K. But we need to have a break structure. Sorry, man?
It worked.
Oh. Let me just change this Fibonacci. Okay, so we're in a fib level now. The confluence of the 786 is the valley area high that we're looking at too. And this, the high to the local low here.
Why does your 200 look different than my 200? Hold on. Unless I'm not using a 200. Right, that red line's your 200, right?
No, that's my 50 daily.
I see. That makes sense.
My 200 daily is down here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm tired of trading between those EMAs, man. just keep away from it. I've noticed that like I journal pretty much every single trade that I take, and I noticed that whenever we're ping ponging between value area like EMAs like that, the 200 and the 50, my win rate drops by like 20%. So whenever I kind of like cringe whenever we get between them. They're great for confluences when you're between them if the gap is big enough, but if the gap gets tighter and tighter and tighter, so does the volume, and then so does my win rate. It kind of goes down a bit. So it's good. It's important to like log your stuff so you know the weaknesses of your strategy, so you don't trade at higher risk. What was the other request that we had? What are the pullback levels for a long and Ethereum? That's a good question. That's a Fibonacci question. So for me to define a pull, I like to wait for like a lower time frame change of character occurrence. And when I get that lower time frame change of character occurrence, that allows me to define, okay, this could be a top where I can do a pull from like an impulse move or a low. For example, I can do it from this local low, prepare for like a return around here. That doesn't seem like a good spot. A better level would be if we got this change of character right here, I'll look at this local low here to this high if we got that break, because then I can start defining that pull. So I'll be watching confluences of that alongside with this uptrending point of interest here. We get that uptrending point of interest. I'll be watching the order books to define a potential bounce around this area and these previous highs right here. Oh, the wifey's watching. I didn't realize I had you as a mod too. See a little mod icon there. Okay, so
your wife's watching?
My wife's watching.
Nicole. Love me.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Kyle's wife is watching.
I thought you called my mom's name because that's my mom's name is Nicole, by the way.
Why are you watching?
Okay. Next request is Bell, B-E-L, from Trip. You can take a peek at Bell, see how it's doing. Hopefully giving better service to everybody. USDT. That was a joke, by the way, guys. You're allowed to laugh. I will put it on. Oh man, look at it go. I guess it is giving better service.
The hell is that?
This is Bell, B-E-L. I don't know what it is. I've done TA on it a couple of times for people. We are just tapping a downtrending level momentum after breaking double bottom. Let's see. Where are we positioned? We got 50% we're around the 50% level of a macro value area. Let's go. Geez, look at this thing. So I don't remember much about it. 1,248 day range. So no wonder you're looking at this. It's a potential opportunity level. We just grabbed liquidity from below this wick right here. And that looks like that liquidity is inducing a double bottom reversal. Got a very strong aggressive move off of it. It didn't really give much of a chance to enter. And front run to the value area low. The last safe entry was here. At least a trade that I would have taken would have been right here. Right, a break of the VWAP, break of the downtrending momentum, the break double bottom off the value area low, break of structure continuation above the VWAP, target the value area high. Watch out for the POC. And I might have already exited too. Yeah, I would have exited this already too. But I would have kicked myself in the butt, just like everyone else does. They put themselves into mental debt after seeing, I closed my trade too soon. And then it goes up like that. But you can't beat yourself up for that. You can use probability to define your rules to help you predict the future, but you can't predict the future. A pretty wild move. So they're in an area of confluence right now to prepare for shorts for Bell. like we're in a supply concern. So don't get too hyped up just yet. The zone here is an area of interest that first brought the price down, which helped induce this neckline right here for the double bottom. But we're in an area of confluence to prepare for potential shorts. So if we get an opposing change of character, this might actually be a really good short. If we get out of this valley area with a break of structure continuation, then that can help you hold your trade and stay in longer if you're already in an existing position. Let me send that the back so it's easier to see. Okay. 5 minute looks like the 15. It just looks no different. Yeah, we gotta wait for more structure. We can't define it a correction here just yet. But yeah, here's definitely a spot, at least at this high, where I prepare for that opposing change of character or potential short. There isn't really a demand zone to pull from to help define the potential range that help keep this stable. So if we do get that change of character occurrence and we get below this neckline, then I'll be targeting the valley area high again. What you want to see if you're a holder, like I said before, that break of structure continuation and acceptance back inside like this previous valley area, so we can potentially get continuation structure and posture to the upside there. Oh, we could pull this whole thing as a valley area from here to here. Yeah. So mark 3280. Okay, that's where you want to get a hold above that, get a break structure confirmation inside that area, so you can potentially get that rotation to 3480. That'd be really good confluence to hold your trade. I went long into that, but I would definitely hold into an active position in that. Congrats if you get on in that. That's pretty intense. Let's go back to the Bitcoin chart. Yeah, Bell's bumping though. That's crazy. And the awkward regression trend break. H-bar request. Oh, I got a definition of it. Bell, if it's Bell's coin, it'd be the first of meme coin created by the same creators of Dogecoin. Okay. I'm surprised I'm not aware of it just because of the age of the token. Like usually tokens that are older than a couple years, everyone knows about them. Okay, H-bar request. H-bar is a good one to hold too long term. Last time we looked at it was on the 4th. Just get my tabs under control, make sure I don't add too many. We got a change of character occurrence on the daily coming up. Nice. We got downtrending momentum here. Escaped out of this valley area here, coming back up to. It's nice when you trade an asset enough where you already have your valley area set up, so you know your bearer concerns before you even look at anything. But yeah, so here we had this pullback right here. We had at least a 2-candle pullback on the daily. We got the lower low, so that defined this as our strong high. We just got to break above this wick, preferably with the candle close and not just another wick up here, so we can define a potential position of strength for a continuation. We have this momentum here that's close to breaking, and that could help define a return back up to these highs around 21 cents. Let's see, go to the lower time frames like the hourly. Last time we looked at it was this head and shoulders posture alongside with the downtrending or uptrending momentum. So when that broke, we got the confluence of breaking the head and shoulders. We got the confluence of getting a change of character occurrence. We got the confluence of being at a valley area high and breaking momentum. So these all of my rules were met right here that I normally look for. I don't have the VWAP on screen, but so long as the VWAP was broken too, I probably would have taken this and then targeted this as a low. And looks like we got a little bit further to the previous value area low here. And now we're at the same area that we prepared for a short last time. But we are like on the daily. We got to remember that this little high right here, if broken, is a daily change of character level. So if we break that, then we have the daily. But it doesn't mean we won't pull back in the lower time frames right after grabbing that liquidity, because we have reasons to drop here still on the lower time frames. And if we look here, we have the supply concern here as well. So tons of reasons to prepare for a short. We can pull a local value area from here to here. If we start to mitigate this area here, and we still get a return back down, then you would adjust your fixed range to include this supply concern, a part of your value area, after it's mitigated, if it gets mitigated. But yeah, right now, we're in a spot where you want to prepare for shorts. But macro-wise, it's like it's positioning for a big move to the upside. So when you think that there's going to be a big move to the upside, you got to pay a lot more attention to the equilibrium point of a range. So if you use a Fibonacci retracement tool from the value area high to the value area low, there are settings you could use to define like mid levels. And it's usually where the POC is, like so right here. So if we do get that bearish rotation down, we could come down, grab liquidity, and then run up for a more of a daily based move and break this downtrending momentum. So short term, I'm bearish, but long term, if we get that high taken, I'm going to be bullish. See you, Brian. Thanks for jumping on, man. How do I boot you out? Here we go. Got you removed. That's cool. But yeah, basically what I just did with Brian there, I want to like start doing with you guys. Like, get selected people who are watching and then let you guys come in and ask any questions about assets or trading questions. Basically do like a one-on-one coaching session for free. So if you guys are down for that, basically in order to get added to those kind of stuff, all you gotta do is subscribe, and then I could start using a ballot system to pull anyone who's actively watching at the time. Just pull from the subscriber system. But yeah, I'm like I said, I want to wait for hopefully for a sweep above this local liquidity. If we come down and we induce more liquidity up here, then we could actually get an SFP and then come down and start targeting these lows here. It depends on what kind of range bound structure that we have if we got an SFP, because you might have to target the local range low. But yeah, let's wait for that change of character, target these lows, watch it for the POC, because at that point, I think we might return for a much bigger move to the upside. Get a little bit of an altcoin rally. And then along the way up, you're going to be watching these value areas along the way in hopes for acceptance within them and not a rejection off of them. Right? You want to have, instead of the change of character against it, you want to have the breakage structure within it. So we can start targeting the value high and go range bound for to allow the price action to reset for continuations. It's looking good. All right. I'm a holder of HBAR too. Not a big holder. I'm a huge holder of Bitcoin. So everything else is like really small relative to it percentage wise. So I got some people digging the 2 o'clock time. I should try to do both, honestly. Your wife wants you to hit 1,000%er for the gang on the love count. That'd be cool. 1,000%er, man. We'd have to go into like super degen stuff or use a crazy amount of leverage. 1,000%'s not too difficult for using 100x, but it's relative to your risk. And if I want people to be managing their risk properly, so okay, so Suie was a request. Did we do hype? We haven't done hype yet. We did HBAR. Bitcoin might be getting that brick structure soon. We'll see. Okay, so hype. $37. Nice, okay. What were we looking at last time? We had a key level here. That was way back in May. What were we preparing for? Okay, we were preparing for a short. After testing this downtrending momentum, we had a head and shoulders, a VWAP confluence of the break, and we were watching the Fibonacci pull from this low to this high for a potential return back up. So a really quick burst trade. I don't think we took it. I don't think I took it, but it sucks when you know a direction of an asset and it's still not safe to trade because the R&R isn't there. Such a bummer. Again, I wouldn't have taken that one, I don't think. Even though we kind of know it's going to go down. Okay, we are in a macro valley area here, and I haven't updated it. So we should pull this whole zone, update our levels. We have uptrending point of interest on Hyperliquid right here. So buyers are constantly undercutting each other in the order books. So you might see buy walls trailing this level in the order books for hype. So if you see a buy wall right now, it's usually vertical to the positioning of the Bitcoins or of the asset's price. Sorry, not Bitcoin. So here you put a vertical line and you can see where potential buy walls could rest, right? So we could have resting buy walls right here, resting buy walls right here. We have order blocks. So there's likely residual buy orders here too. The vertical lines will help you visualize where the buy walls could be. And then you use the order books to validate it, to make sure it's actually there and you're not just hoping that it's there. That's what makes your trend, like trend lines could murder you if you trust them immediately. You have to make sure that you're seeing if they're being honored in the order books first. But yeah, right now its positioning is in a spot where you definitely want to prepare for longs. Did we just grab that liquidity? Let's see. Use your magnet tool, try to cling it onto the top. Oh my God. We did grab the by micro pennies. We did grab that liquidity from like, man, could have been a good short opportunity there. Look at the 5 minute. Yeah, right here, this candle would have been the best play. That little candle there. Because we grabbed the liquidity from the local price here, right? And we closed inside the range right here. So you put your stop loss above the high, enter on that candle, and you target the local lows in hopes that they break for continuation. So here, the target of the SFP has already been hit on Hyperliquid right now. But if you're in a short, you have reason to prepare for it to continue to go down. We are fairly deviated away from the valley area high, the more macro valley area high. I can change this, not previous. But here is a supply or demand concern right here. We have confluence of an order block. We have confluence of the VWAP. We have confluence of the price of the active valley area high and this little demand zone. So if I were to prepare for a long or at least a bounce, it would be in this zone. There's quite a bit of confluence here. So it'd be a short-term long because we're at a valley area high, unless we get the continuations to get us a higher high. And that would be a warning sign by itself. If we did come down, bounce off this and got the higher high, it warns you that we're going to go back to a previous valley area or we're going to create a new one if it's price discovery. So here is actually a good spot to prepare for a short if you're late. Right now, we're getting that change of character. We just got the change of character. What I don't like about it is just the lack of a proper stop loss guard. You're going to be looking at, let's see what we have. It's a 1.37% pullback. Oh, drawdown risk. Hey, the R&R's there though. It's 1 to 2.24. So you were risking to lose $100 to try to gain $224, minus the fees, of course. We have a regression trend here. So that's bearish or alone, because what that does is it stacks more and more liquidity below your feet, but takes it from above you, constantly takes it. Right? So that SFP would have been by far the safest entry, but this is a good continuation warning right here. So that's hype. Good job pointing that out right on time. And we just got the candle close, so we just got the 5-minute confirmation. So we should be starting to fall back. If we pull back, this is the invalidation point. I would not adjust your stop loss lower, because we could just as easily come back up here and continue to go down. So this is the invalidation point. You are 1,000% wrong or I'm 1,000% wrong if we come up through here, right? So this is going to be guarding your capital. All right, cool. Well, it's dead on to 1 to 2 right now. Alex Crypto should consider making Ottercoin and Beavercoin if it doesn't exist yet. Well, Beavercoin, you probably won't go with that, but Ottercoin, that makes sense. Lots of problems that can go along with Beavercoin. I can code a coin for him if he ever asked me to. I've made my own cryptocurrencies before. I've created some in the past for clients, and I created some for our own community called Karma. So if he wants his own token, I can build something. But it's a huge responsibility, and it comes with a lot of stress. So I'm not sure if he'll be down with that. If he were to approach me and if he were to ask me, hey Kyle, should I make my own cryptocurrency? I would tell him no. I would say don't do it, bro. It's a lot of stress. If he made Beavercoin, Canada would probably try to sue. Anyway, he's Canadian though, so it'd be good for the brand. Suie and Mask request. So we take a peek at Suie first, because Jeff asked first, and then we can go to Mask right after. Get that break of structure. It looks weak though. So hopefully get this candle body close higher. I don't want to be shorting here. I'd rather be shorting up there. So it was Suie first, right? And click put 3. There we go. Get up there. Suie. What were we looking at last time here? What is this mess? See, we got... Oh, okay, I see. We had supply concern here. I knew there were sell walls here too, against this point of control. Lots of sellers trying to get out. So I was waiting for a potential short to the value area low. We're cutting through this. Why are we cutting through that? 5-minute posture. Okay. So here we got the change of character occurrence, divergence forming. We could have potentially entered here, stop loss guard here. Would have been range bound for a bit with the sell wall guarding your capital, and then came down, broke momentum. That would warn you to get out early, unfortunately. That would have been pretty much a break-even trade if you took that one. Let's see what we have here. We got acceptance to this value area from over here. We left that. That was a very easy short, honestly. Super easy short. Now we got above the value area high, where hitting a previous point of control, which we hit last time we bumped our head off it. That's what was the start of this downtrend last time. So we got to be mindful of it this time around too. Let's mark our value area high, because this could help you with any potential shorts. If you took a short, we could still see this value area high potentially act as support along the way. Same kind of positioning as H bar, right? Is it H bar or is it or hype? Oh, same positioning as hype. Yeah, being at a key previous area of interest, where there's a large amount of liquidity resting on hype. And we could see that Suie, same kind of thing. We got positioning against a previous area where there's liquidity. We have yet to grab it. We have some distance away from it. We mark our wicks, get our magnet tool out right here. There we go. So we got 339.11 as our key level where liquidity could be resting. We got a bit of a tweezer reaction against it. That by itself is a type of confirmation. So if you guys are looking for candlestick rules to help define entries, this could be one for a potential strategy if you want to build one for yourself. Seeing an engulfing response with a flat level of resistance or a flat level of support, or like an engulfing version over here. Yeah, that could help you with potential confluences for shorts and longs. We have a uptrending momentum here that broke. We used it as resistance. Got the lower low. We had a change of character currents already right here. When we broke this low, because when we came up, it became our strong low on the 5-minute. So we have some, Suie right now has some relative weakness against hype, for example. Because it's already kind of confirming it already confirmed its drop a little bit sooner, about an hour or so ago. But yeah, down here is a demand concern that you got to watch out for, and confluence with the previous value area high. So if we come down, we have to watch out for this area along the way that could induce an opposing change of character to bring us right back up. And being that far away from liquidity and not taking it, we just stacked more above us. So we have even more reasoning to come back up here now. So I think that this, if we pull back, it'll be short-lived and that will come back up. What's the most attractive thing to you right now, spot-wise? Spot-wise. Probably Filecoin or DOT. Those two assets are, let's go to DOT for a second. It's a good question, man. Easy one to answer. Vacation says Qubic. Now, if we go zoom out a little bit. When I say a little bit, I mean a lot of it. So this is DOT's. Let's see, 1,100 day range. Super long range. And we just recently broke momentum here. And every time we break momentum, we tend to rally to the other side of the value area. Right now we're in a pullback. Let me delete some of this noise. We just grabbed the liquidity from above these highs here. And we started pulling back ever since. So basically, most likely institutional involvement induced this move, this break through the upside. You see a massive amount of interest during those times and potential institutional involvement right here on the volume chart. Whenever you see a vector candle, we can assume that there's potential institutional involvement. And we can see right here, there's an induced move to break momentum right here. So they could have entered here and then exited right here. But if we get that full rotation up to its value area high, it's around like $8. So you'll be like 2xing your account on a relatively safe asset like DOT. I feel like DOT is like, it's got, hopefully they're developing something in the background. I got to take a look and see their activity. Yeah, Polkadot app nears public launch in USA 5 days ago. We'll see. That could induce a massive move back up. Now, looking at the structure right now, to make sure you're getting in a position of strength and things don't just continue to go down for DOT. Like we are building like a Wyckoff model. We're starting to see accumulation warnings right here. And a key level right now to watch for DOT would be here. So if you're trying to get on a spot hold, you want to make sure your money is going to start working for you right away. I would make sure that you wait until we have like acceptance above this area here. Just in case we end up, getting lower lows, you don't want to be buying into a position of weakness and then forced to hold that until you end up seeing the profit, right? You want your money working for you right away. So I'd recommend waiting for $4.20 for like a 4-hour candle close. Let's see if we can use a lower time frame. Lower time frame we can, but we have to have a higher level to watch at 422. So if you can try to front run the 4-hour, you can use the hourly for like a 2-cent higher level. But just be mindful of what kind of structural posture you have when we get up there, because you don't want to get in right at the top before it comes down. I'll try to signal this then. If you're part of the community, I'll try to signal for this. I'll set an alarm for when price action taps it. Okay. Oh, they changed the alert system. Interesting. All right, okay, it's all set up properly. All right, so I'll get notified if we get up there then. And then I'll let you guys know if the posture looks safe enough for a spot hold. That looked great. Okay. Ciao, what's up, man? Mask was the other request from Dave. Okay, so Dave, let's pull this up, man. Mask Network. Just hitting the VWAP off our head there. Let's see, we got uptrending momentum on the 5. So the lower time frame posture is looking a little weak. Zoom out on the daily. I don't remember doing TA on this thing. Yeah, looks like the last time I updated the TA was on the August 2023. I was marking, this is the old way I used to mark my liquidity levels. I'd like have a dotted white line to warn me if future price action, if we get down to those dotted lines, to prepare for potential bounces like we got here, here, and here, right? Because if we grab liquidity, it could be used as entry liquidity to allow price action to reverse. And we just grabbed historic liquidity relatively recently in April, and that helped induce a massive rally back up. But I don't know much about this token. I don't actually remember even trading it. But here we have downtrending momentum. There might be some inflationary impact over its tokenomics. Like based on this posture, it's looking like it keeps getting weaker from inflationary damage. So I'll take a look at its tokenomics and see how much is it making of this token. Is it printing tokens? It did say Mask Finance, so there's a good chance that they have a reward system that does damage their token a bit. Only had like one little short over here. Let's get rid of those price labels so it doesn't. There we go. But yeah, we just hit that downtrending point of interest. We can delete that. Delete this. Let's just delete everything. Start over. Pull a value area from here to the moment we left it right here. Mark our value area low. This is a macro value area, so there we go. And then click and drag. Value area high. Okay, and then we're set. So last thing we hit was the downtrending momentum and confluence with the point of control. Looks like a really strong key level. You can see how it's how much interest we've got there is pretty strong. We got a little bit of interest here, a decent amount of interest at the value area low. So if we get proper acceptance into here, then it'd be easy to call. Yeah, that's a massive rejection. We got that change of character right here on the daily. So right now it's bearish on the daily right now. We're below the 50-day, we're below the 200. We really need to see it get acceptance at 220 with a break of structure in order to have any chance for a rotation at its value area high at $4.20. Lower time frames, unfortunately, looks relatively weak too. Looks like we're building a fish hook. Fish hooks are short-term, very short-term bullish, but turn bearish. Bit of a rounded bottom, yeah. With that wick down here and its posture, we need to see a break above the VWAP, which is currently suppressing the price right now. If we break the VWAP, we could like hit potentially a supply concern here, then come back down. You don't get squeezed. Yeah, the main thing I would be watching out for is the short, which is right here. So we have the confluence of like hitting point of interest, uptrending point of interest, VWAP into a supply concern. If we get the change of character confluence, right now this is the key level, but if we get the higher high, then it would evolve to this point. I kind of prefer that. And then that way you'd have a safer R&R setup to the target, which is right down here. Now, because we have this crazy wick, the target could extend past its tradition, which is the bottom of this structure, and hit this level here at 156. So it's looking bearish, unfortunately, right now. But this is one of those ones that you want to keep an eye out on if this is an asset that you want to hold. Having that far of a deviation away from its macro value area, that's about 874 days. You're trying to get in on a position around here, it could get you a really good early entry for potential rotation to that value high again. I'll mark from this high to low. See if there's any confluence for reversal. I think right now we're kind of at it. Tapping into the golden pocket. So yeah, I think that like short term, we're going to grab that liquidity, but longer term, like let's look at like the 4-hour time frame and prepare for a potential change of character occurrence at these higher time frames to help define a move back up to the value area. That's Mask. I hope that helps you out, man. What else we got in the chat? After all this time, it's worth annoying Kyle with Qubic and stuff, man. LA, USDT, QNT. Oh, Quant. I haven't looked at Quant in too long. Bitcoin's still slow crawling its way back up. Super slow. Do we have a QNT chart? We do. Okay, Quant. Last time we looked at Quant was March 7th. I wonder what we were looking at. Okay, we're preparing for confluences off this previous valley area high right here. alongside with like the positioning to hopefully prepare for like that change of character occurrence. We have a key level marked way up here, but that would have changed and evolved to from here to here, and then from here to here. So this would have been the key level to watch right here for the long. After a break of this momentum, we had acceptance in this value area, and then we bounced off the value area low. So on the lower time frames, there could have been some confluence there for a long, but we don't need to waste your time looking at that stuff. We have uptrending momentum here. We're now approaching an area of concern, like right now as we speak. Kind of along with everything else, honestly, we're at similar positioned. Like the alts, you might start seeing probably tomorrow others dominance go down and Bitcoin dominance go up because of all the positioning for a lot of these alts are preparing for a liquidity sweep, like a bearish liquidity sweep. We have local resistance. So yeah, this is where I prepare for a potential short. You should mark this value area here just to see what kind of conditioning we have for the short. From here to here. Mark our previous value area high. Mark our point of control. And mark our value area low. Okay. So if I were to be jumping on a short soon, I want to see, let's go to the lower time frames. We're on the hourly now. Yeah, I'd want to see like a change of character occurrence. Right now, that's not until here. So if we come up, hit our head off this, maybe we'll build posture for a better short. But right here, this is our key level that if broken, we would get acceptance to the value area. And if broken, we get to change of character. And then we can start targeting the previous value area low. But we have to be mindful of the uptrending point of interest. If there are buy orders resting here, it'll keep us from going down. Okay. But yeah, Quant, yeah, I'm kind of in bear mode right now for Quant short term. It looks like we might get that retracement down to at least its uptrending point of interest. We got some demand here too. Okay, so that's Quant. Kind of got that, like trading. Yeah. Whenever I see this kind of stuff, where we have this like impulse move up, and then we build like an inverse head and shoulders. Like I never trust those. they do sometimes usually play out pretty well, but inverse head and shoulders, they come in from a downtrend most of the time, and it's basically we induce lots of stacked liquidity above it to help drive the move up with buy side liquidity. But what makes it better is having more liquidity stacked from a downtrend. So coming in from an uptrend, I trust them a lot less. So yeah, 123.13 is an area of concern for Quant. So watch out for the pushing change character there. Bitcoin's rushing up to, in confluence with that, to its value area high. So as we approach this, a lot of things are going to start getting closer and closer to their bearish areas. H bar breaking through its daily change of character. Suie's still bearish. Yeah. All right, guys. I got to head out soon, so I can tackle a couple more for you guys. But I do want to let you know that I'm doing a promotion right now. We're bringing in. We can handle bringing like 5 people per day. It's pretty busy, so we try to like limit the amount of seats that can jump in each day. And right now we have a limit of 5. But within these 5, the next 5 people that join, if they use the code learn to earn, you get 75% off your first month. So learn to earn. The code's also in the description, so you can just copy paste it to make things easier. So if you're wanting to learn from me or anyone part of the community, we have tons of courses that come along with it, and we also will help guide you like step by step, like handhold kind of style, like walking you through stuff. So, and I've got an 84% win rate. So if you want to have that same kind of win rate by copying my rules and get a good understanding of it all, you can do that by like learning through our community. So, Chow throwing out the LA USDT. So let's see, what is that? Is that a new one? They don't have their logo listed yet, so it must be relatively new. The USDT logo is the filler that TradingView uses for their stuff. So they're still waiting on that from the token creator. We got a decent, like we got double bottom recovery here. Fractalized came up, hit its head off this supply concern. Oh, it is relatively new. Okay, so it's been out since June on this chart at least. This is the Bybit chart. It looks like it was a bit of a sleeping dragon for a little bit. Came up from this high down to this low. 2 days. Okay, that's not too long. We're on the 15-minute time frame, so it's not. It's going to do Alt H. Yeah. Alt H brings up your horizontal line a lot faster. Just going to mark this as a key level. Previous value area from here to here. We are still establishing this value. We technically don't want to pull this value area until we break above this high before you can trust it. If we broke above that high, then we pull from here to here. Same, relatively close to the same kind of behaviors last time. So unmark your previous point of control, basically that neckline. Okay. So here, mark your value area low. You might have to depend on a 5-minute time frame or lower to find your safe entry on this asset. Its liquidity is not that bad considering it's a low asset, like relatively young asset. See POC. I don't know anything about it in terms of its tokenomics, but see 5-minute posture key level here. So you can try to front run that key level with a SFP down here potentially, building a bit of a Wyckoff model here. I would love to see a sweep of this liquidity so that we can front run this key level break. So the structure, it's not going to give you much time otherwise. If we get the break above this, we can get the full rotation back up to its value area high. Some fair value gaps along the way, so price action could move decently quick. But yeah, 102.30 is like your key level for a position of strength. Front running it, you're going to watch this as a barrier along the way, of course, alongside with the POC. So if we get that SFP, your body level is right here right now. We have a wick level here, and we have a wick level here. We could also get, now that we swept right down here, we could also get a local SFP from this wick to help define a move back up here. Same kind of way that we did like right here, right? Where we had this wick here, added liquidity, swept, took all liquidity, closed back above the candle here, stop loss guard, and you would target this high along the way. And we didn't make it all the way up there. But this engulfing response would have been enough to say, get GTFO, get out. We broke the POC. We got the engulfing response. High sell shadow wick. So yeah, that would enough to get out. For an SFP, you got to listen to more sensitive exit criteria than you do with like change of character rules. Just so you can secure your gains, honestly. So yeah. So basically, man, yeah, you want to have a local SFP here, or sweep this liquidity here with an SFP. Target the POC, watch out for it along the way. But what you really want to have happen if you get in early is this change of character response. If you don't find anything safe, then what you want to see is potentially a pullback, preferably off the POC, and then a break above this. And the reason why I would want a pullback onto the POC is so if I use it as my stop loss guard, I would have not only structure defining protection for my stop loss, but I also have a point of control where there's a lot of investor interest protecting it as well. So those buyers could help protect your stop loss. And then you can target up here, and you would have decent R&R off of a scenario like that. You'd be risking to lose like 100 to gain about close to $300 in a scenario like that. But yeah, that is LA. Looks pretty good. I hope that helps, man. Some kind of AI token. Okay, cool. AI is great. It looks like it started off really strong. Sol on the move, testing the low. If Solana has a 5-minute candle body close below 155.56, would it be good to short? Let's find out. I don't remember what we were looking at for Sol. I think it looked like it was an SFP scenario. Oh, we wanted the SFP sweep up here. Yeah, I have a level. Oh, dude, straight down drop. It would be good for a drop, but I want to have, hopefully we get a pullback first, just because of this, the conditioning of the drop itself. I want to have that filled a bit, have a better stop loss guard, because our only guard is way up here. Let's see if the R&R is still worth it, though, if we took the short without waiting for a pullback. Because pullbacks are great for trying to get in on like better areas, but sometimes it reduces the amount of opportunities you get because you end up missing out on some entries. But missing out is sometimes better than taking action on some of these moves. Well, to our first barrier concern, it's a 1-to-1. But our primary target, which is the value area low, 153.05, is a 1-to-2 entering off of just this criteria. So yeah, getting a close below this is technically enough, so long as you have your stop loss above the invalidation point, which is up here. So hopeful for a change of character and then a pullback. So we get that change of character, like breaking that low, grab that liquidity for it to induce a bit of a pullback. And then from there, you can use a Fibonacci to define like where the pullback could go to. Yeah, I'm hopeful for a bit of a pullback, but the criteria would be met if we get to close below here for sure, which we have about 1 minute and 30 seconds left on it. But again, be super cautious of the VWAP if you're taking the short. It is going to reset in like 3 hours or so, but 3, 6, about 5 hours or so. Still watch out. You know, we might get that sweep here on the LA. I think James could use a lesson in hiding his stop loss, aka liquidation point. James Wynn. Oh, you're talking about the big whale trader. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, FOMO is talking about. I think he's on a hyperliquid. The thing is, when you're a whale like that, if you're not separating your orders, you're easy to target. Because your liquidation levels are just big giant highlights on our screen for market makers to target. So he becomes like a market maker target. Because that's enough liquidity. The amount of liquidity that guy provides to the market is enough for a market maker to use as a tool to enter with their positions. But yeah, my problem I think I have that James guy has is not his entries, because some of them are pretty darn good, but it's his ability to close his trades. He just doesn't close them. If he were to close his trades and at times of weakness, he'd make so much money. So much money. It's funny that you bring that up, because the community just started like logging like everything he does, just watching him on Hyperliquid. Okay. Unfee was another quest. Unfee by Cookie. Okay. See, let's take a look at Unfee. What is it doing? I know a lot of people boycotted this one. Last time I looked at it was June 17th, 2024. Yeah, so it looks like I was one of the ones that boycotted too. A year ago. Oh, it's not even on this chart anymore. Let's take a look at Unfee. It looks like it got delisted from Bybit's perpetuals. Go on, let's go on Gate.io's chart. Zoom out a bit. It's in price discovery. Yep. Okay. That's probably why I boycotted it. There's like certain key levels that if you break, that I just don't trust you for trading anymore or holding. So value area from here to here. We confirmed an exit. We have downtrending momentum. I would like to say this could be like a good opportunity to prepare for a nice return back up, but Unfee is one of those ones where I feel like it might become a zombie token. It just dies to the point where you can't trade it anymore. If we go down to super low time frames, let's see. Is our daily momentum broke? We've been range bound against the supply concern here since February. Just visualizing the pathing right now a sec. And we can include it up to here. And then we can zoom in. All right, so we're at a value area low. We have downtrending momentum here, right? And we got, zoom in on the hourly. It was like a harmonic bat pattern. That's a little messy. Zoom in further. And so we're fighting against the point of control. We got some negative space to the momentum. We could be range bound for another 2 days. Oh God. It's not personally one I'd like to trade. You see like crazy wicks all over the place like this. It's easy to get knocked out when you're trying to get on a good move. The value area low to the value area high is 50%. So your stop loss percentage wise is going to be, it'll force you to use lower leverage, or else you can get liquidated pretty easily. Yeah, we're at the, just like this awkward mess. So we get above 21.14 and we use it as support. the break of structure, because I'm not going to trust it otherwise, honestly. If you get that break, break of structure continuation, we could start targeting these highs, but you're going to have to be very mindful of the local supply concern right here. So mark this as a valley area. Watch how we behave against its valley area low along the way. If we bunker head off that and we get a opposing change of character, I would listen to the market and get out. And the last time we bunked our head off of this supply concern here, mitigated about half of it. So it's gotten a lot weaker. So I'd mark the top side of it as a barrier concern along the way too. There's resting liquidity that could potentially be there, could be used for exit liquidity. So local resistance here at 25.63. If I were to give you some pro advice, just don't trade this token. All right, on fee, I've seen it like wreck people all the time. It's if you look at this, for example, these wicks, like trying to find a stop loss guard, trading this, it breaks structural rules all the time. It just has poor liquidity right now, so just be super careful trading it. But if I can't control what you do, but if you're going to be jumping in on something, I'd wait for that break of structure here, or wait for better positioning down here at the valley area low for a change of character occurrence down here. Like based on the momentum, we could be range bound here for another 2 days. So be careful. Not every asset's worth trading. Looks like we got a break below this level here on LA. How is Suie going down? Suie's coming back up a bit. Relative strength. H bar still at its high. Solana still looking weak. Yeah. It's not going to give you much. We're coming back down to the bottom of this little demand zone here. But all this is likely going to do is induce a pullback to retest this level before giving you a break of structure, and likely continuation down to the value area low. But again, watch out for that VWAP. Okay, and go back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's breaking this regression trend. We are now coming in to tap the uptrending momentum. We have a neckline here that could induce a 5-minute change of character occurrence if broken. We could sweep liquidity while bouncing off this simultaneously, so just be careful. So I'd want to have a full body candle close below this before trusting it for a continuation down, which you can use in confluence with other assets. I wouldn't technically short this one, even though we're likely going to know it's going to drop, because its stop loss positioning is going to be way up here. We can use it in confluence with the other assets that look bearish. Qubic is positioning itself for a short. Solana already positions itself for a short. Suie already confirmed a move for a drawdown. Let's see. Yeah, we already mitigated the local fib level. We got to get opposing change of character on Suie soon. I'm hoping if Suie's coming up, it's just going to come to grab that liquidity and then come back down, because you shouldn't leave that there. That'll tick off a lot of traders. Like they're waiting for so long for that to be swept, and then you get this engulfing response. It's so rude. Do you think Bitcoin can get to 109,300-ish today? If we maintain this momentum, yeah, we can get there before the daily candle closes. Yeah, so the momentum is suggesting we can get up there in 2 hours and 45 minutes if we maintain this. Your answer to give you a no on that would be if we got the opposing change of character occurrence, which is right here. So this would be a no. If we maintain this, then it's a yes. With trading, you got to think if this, then that, right? So if A happens, we do A. If B happens, we do B, kind of thing. What's the proper way to use / interpret the VWAP? That's a good question. So the VWAP is the weighted average of the day. So what's going on throughout the daily price action is going to define this moving average right here. And you can prepare for trades based on the positioning of the VWAP. So for example, if we are deviated away from it, like we are right now, you can prepare for shorts. And there are multipliers that are built into it. They're called bands multipliers, 1, 2, and 3. Well, I don't know what just happened to my VWAP. It just got deleted. There's bands multipliers 1, 2, and 3. Let me just pull it up naturally here for you guys now that I lost it on my chart for some reason. There we go. So this is what it looks like originally. And what you're seeing right here is the multiplier. And one of the more popular uses of the multiplier is like the 2.5 level, using that. So you can see right now the 2.5 level is way up here above the value area high, which is coming in confluence with the large amount of liquidity that's up there. So you can prepare for shorts when we deviate away from it, but then you target it, right? You can also use it as a tool to define confluence entries, which is the way I prefer to use it. There's lots of ways to use it, but that's the way I prefer to use it. Let's change the style back to the way I usually have it. So confluence rules for it here. Let's say you wanted to jump in on this like inverse head and shoulders. It's really messy on the Bitstamp chart, but see here, we broke the inverse head and shoulders while being above the VWAP. So VWAP's going to help you with bias control. So if we break, if all your rules are met in confluence with the VWAP being on your back, then it's good for controlling your bias for a long position. Same thing for shorts. If we break below it after like a break of structure or change of character, it's good for confluence for shorts. And then, yeah, then you just basically use it as a barrier concern if you're preparing for shorts as well. So if you are, let's say, for example, we wanted to jump in on a short here and we were targeting the value area low, just like a point of control, you're going to have to watch the VWAP as a barrier along the way, especially if it's in line with another barrier in confluence with it. Because then if you have two forms of confluences in one spot, you're more likely to have more trade participants enacting off of it, which could go against you in your trade. But always use structure to define if it's being honored as a form of support or resistance, because we can break right through it and you don't want to scare yourself out of your trade. I hope that helps you out with VWAP. There's lots of cool ways to use it. The deviations are popular with Fibonacci strategies, value area strategies, or range-bound strategies. It's usually pretty popular when you have the break of the VWAP in confluence with the move. Like for example here, another good example. We just tested the value area low. We got an ascending double bottom. We've got a candle here that closed above the point of control and the VWAP. So during that time, if a VWAP is a part of your rules, then you could basically say, I will not enter longs unless the candle I'm using to confirm the trade breaks above the VWAP. So that could be one rule. And then you can start targeting the opposite side of the value area, for example. Yeah. Same thing with this short confluence to VWAP. Yeah, that helps you. Should we short? Yeah, it's a waiting game for shorts. So we got to wait for the positioning. Right now, it's a value area high is what we're kind of hoping for. And then a change of character, like a double top. And then we target the value area low. If we get it sooner, then unfortunately it'll be like right here where we get that short. I'm hoping that we just keep maintaining the pace so we have better positioning for our short and better R&R for our way down. I discovered you only a week ago. You're very knowledgeable. Thank you for sharing. Oh, no problem, man. Thanks for saying that. can you please show us which exact candle you would start and finish your value areas? Yeah, I'm gonna have to draw something out for you first. And you need to have a good understanding of market structure. So if I were to define a value area, what I want to see first is like a base, like this, an impulse move up, and then like a change character occurrence, right? And during that time, if I just make this a little bit better, a sec. During this time, I see a demand zone down here. I'm gonna look at this like this is likely going to be the value area low of a potential value area that has yet to be pulled. So at this moment, you could pull a value area if you see a demand zone and change of character. Same thing if the opposite is true, where if you have price action come down, build a base, and then another impulse move down, and then we got an opposing change of character this way. During that moment, could be a good time to pull a value area. However, just know that during these times, the value area is very young, so you trust it less because we could just blast right through this demand zone and keep going down. So just be mindful that it's young during this time. But the moment you get another change of character occurrence against you like this, that's when the value area becomes more mature and you can trust the value area high and the value area lows a lot more for preparing for positions, right? Or we just go range bound in there all over and over again. So that's kind of like the drawing where I kind of want you like visualize this kind of structure when you're preparing for trade, like pulling your value areas. Okay. And then I'll find you a bunch of examples. Sec here. Let's see. Let's zoom out. So like here, it's kind of an example, right? We got this impulse move up, built a base, another impulse move up. So this is a potential demand concern. If we get the opposing change of character during that moment, you can technically pull a value area from the start of that demand zone to here if we get the change of character, right? Because if we don't get the change of character, we wouldn't be able to define this as a potential high for a value area pull. Let's find some better examples because that's a weird regression trend demand zone. Well, here's a good one. So this is like a short version, right? Where we're coming in down from a downtrend. We built this, we had this impulse move, base, another impulse move down. We had the change of character. So during this moment right here, we update this from this supply concern to this change of character level. I would start looking at this as potential value area, right? And that we're kind of like slightly deviated from right now. So I would watch the value area low as a barrier concern. We did have a bit of a pullback off of it here. However, if you jumped in with a stop loss guard here, you'd still be in the trade until you could still technically hold it to where the value area became, right? Right during this moment. However, the point of control would have been a barrier, and I probably would have closed at that point of control. I probably would have known in hindsight that we're going to come back up here, but I definitely would have likely exited here, especially seeing the sweep of this liquidity with this candle. That would have scared me out immediately, thinking that would be coming down, potentially even to hitting our stop loss. Once we have like more price action defined, I get another change of character here, right? You can keep updating your value area. And when it becomes matured, you'll notice that the value area, see how it kind of moves here a little bit? These are based on my previous polls. The value area high and the value area low is barely going to move after it becomes matured. So the more you update it, you'll notice that the value area high and value area low barely move. Until eventually, the moment you use the value area as resistance, and then we leave. This isn't a very good example of it, but if we zoom in on the 15-minute time frame, you can see a lot more clearly. right here. We had like that break of structure way down. I would prefer positioning for like confirming a move out of the value area with a break of structure like here, not within it like this, but we had the uptrending point of interest to help guide us into that exit too. So that's one example. That's more of a, this is like the bearish value area example. Like a bullish one would be, look at this little mini guy over here. When we're at this all-time high. Let's go to the 5 minute. So here's another example, right? So we had this impulse move up, built a base, right? So this is the potential demand zone that you'd watch if we had an opposing change of character. We didn't get opposing change of character, but we did get a double top. And they're not, I don't trust them as much unless we get like a higher high swept first. So I can get that change of character occurrence simultaneously with the double top break. But it doesn't mean it's not something that you can't take. But during that moment, when we got that break of a key level where there was sell side liquidity resting, we had that level bounce, we had a bounce off it. And then during that moment, when we had a bounce off this level and we had an opposing change of character, where is that? No proper pullbacks. Jeez, okay. So that wasn't until here when we broke this high. No, okay, that's why I didn't take any trades here. Yeah, you don't see any long or short position tools here. Yeah, sometimes it's just a little too messy for you to trust. So like here would be your change of character occurrence on the 5. And during that moment, when this candle closed here, you could pull your fixed range from the start of the demand to this point here. You could also pull it from here to here, but it'd be really young and be hard to trust. But yeah, right here is where I would start trusting it. So there's like a rule for beginners would be the 2 change of character rule. So demand, come up, change of character, right? Come down, change of character. And then during that moment, you can trust it. There's a really good beginner like level set of rules. More advanced people can kind of look at previous value area data from other value areas so that if we build a demand zone here, come up, get a change of character occurrence, and we saw that we're also at a historical value area high and historical value area low, and we just recently got acceptance into it, then you can treat it the same way you did in the past and prepare for a value area low target. When we're in price discovery, it's a little bit trickier for people. So you got to wait for the 2 change of character rule, or just at least let it mature a bit so you can start trading it. Kind of like what I did here. We're in price discovery here. Right? This is a brand new price action. We'd never been here before. I wanted to give it some time before I trusted it. Even though I saw the break of momentum, I saw like a break of a key level and change of character occurrence. Sometimes the R&R is not worth it, or sometimes you just don't trust it just yet. But once you start establishing some more price action in the range, it gets easier to trust, right? Break of momentum, change of character occurrence, target value area low. Same here. Key level break, VWAP on our back, and then target the value area low. Rinse and repeat over and over and over again. I also had the confluence of a giant sell wall here. There's like a 3,000 Bitcoin sell order. Someone trying to get out of the market or influence the market to go down. Probably a market maker trying to influence people to sell. But yeah. I don't know, it's like a long-winded answer, but there's no easy way to answer that question without basically giving a tutorial. But all this stuff is inside the course too, guys. So if you're interested in learning, we've got tons of material to help you. It's a 30-day course. So you literally day 1 be all beginner stuff, and it works your way down to like day 30, where you start slowly getting more advanced, and you start having like more advanced. And you basically learn 5 different trading strategies before day 30. So you can start being profitable like right after the course. So long as you get the risk management part down and you listen to the rules, you'll do great. Did you ever go back to using the Bolger bands? I love using the Bolger bands as a teaching method to teach people rules for mechanical based strategies, but there's not enough opportunity for me to use it often, if that makes sense. I make a lot of money using the strategy that I do now with the valley areas. So ever since then, I haven't really used the Bolger band strategy that much. But it's not a bad strategy. It's a pretty good strategy. It gives you good risk-reward ratio. It's easy for beginners to know where the target is. Easy to know when to enter, stuff like that. Hey guys, I definitely got to go. But here is where we're going to be praying for shorts at 109,300. Hopefully, we don't lose momentum before then, because I would really prefer that kind of positioning for a short down to the value low. Solana, how you doing? Solana, we got a bit of a tracement back up. We got a fib pull from here. 1 second. From this local high to this low. And we could come up and tap this level before returning back down. I'm still bearish on this. If that change of character occurrence, we swept the liquidity. So reason to come down. There's more reason to come down than it is to go up. But yeah, target 153.05. Watch out for the VWAP along the way. Qubic is also positioned for a return down. Hopefully grab the high and then break for the change of character and then target the POC. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys have yourself an amazing day. And remember, there's the Learn to Earn coupon. I'll type it in here for you guys. So you can get 75% off your first month and see if you would like to learn from us and make an income from trading. All right, guys, have a great day. Reach out to me in the Discord if you need help with anything. Remember, I got my handle in the description. So if it's not the one in the description, it's likely an impersonator trying to scam you. So please be cautious of any impersonators that might try to grab your funds. I will not ask you for money. So don't worry about anything fishy like that in the DMs. If someone starts asking for money, then just start blocking them. All right, guys, you have a great day and thanks for watching.